Okay, so let us decide what kind of application that we want to work on. Okay, and then we can see how it is going to be finished. Not sure about that, but let's see. Just go away. Okay, so let us see what can we do and how can we continue with the actual requirement of it. Let me start new. Here it is. So this is what I'm planning. Hopefully that will cover all the topics, all the points that you are having in your mind to be developed. There'll be a React application as usual. Sorry, there'll be a React application as usual. What are you saying? It looks like you're signed out. Who? Okay, one sec. Let me sign in back. Grammatically, why are you coming up in the go away? Okay. One sec. It's not needed. Go away. Okay. So as I said, there is a React application here, and we need a couple of more components in this. This is the React application as usual. There will be a backend that is an Express application, and there will be a database. Database could be MySQL or something. So you decide, I'm going to go with MySQL. Actually speaking, we don't even have to go for a database if you want to really look at the Express application, but we'll do it anyways. And then in between, there is a cloud. This is the kind of scenario that we are kind of implementing now. And at the end of this session, I'll be deploying this application on cloud as well, on AWS as well, so that you'll get a complete idea, like how do we develop a complete application from scratch, literally from backend to front end, and how we deploy that on AWS cloud, so that we can make it publicly available to all the users from all over the world. Okay, that's a point I'm trying to cover here. I hope you're okay with that. Now, what kind of application that we are looking for? I'm going to go with a bit smaller application so that we can finish everything, everything from backend to front end. In my mind, I think let's go for a pizza shop application where we can show number of pizzas. User will select a pizza, will put that in a cart, and user can place an order. I hope that will give a clear-cut idea how to register the user, how to authenticate the user, how to cache the user's token, how to add something to the cart, how to use Redux in that application, how do we place an order, and how do we send an email to the customer upon sending a gift or upon creating an order. I hope that will cover all the points, all the questions that you're mind. Are you all okay with that? Okay, wonderful. Oh, by the way, will you ask the questions in between? Okay, let's hope so. Crossing my fingers as usual. So let's continue here and see the first part, MySQL. Okay, so I'm going to create a new directory for us to go with this adventure. This is 2023. I'll be creating a new directory. Should I? Okay, I should. Let me just say, this is like final application. Last time also I created the same application final, but it seems like that wasn't final. It was a pre-final. This is the final. Okay. So final app, I would call it as, or maybe I can say pizza shop app. And right inside this, let's create two directories. Let's create a doc code first, and let's say if needed, we can put some documents in between. Sorry, documents in between. And within the code, let's create two different directories to represent two different words. One of them is going to be like backend as usual. And one of them is going to be like a front end. Again, this is going to be React application. Okay. So let's go for the backend very quickly, finish it off.
Recording through.
Yeah, I did. Recording. Yes, recording. Yes. Okay. So is recording started? I hope so. Yeah, it started. Okay. So in which case, hopefully we are going to start with the backend first. We'll quickly finish it out, and then we can continue with the front end part. Unless there's a backend, we cannot make use of the database there. So let's create a backend application first, as I said. Okay. Let's open that in Visual Studio Code, and let's start writing some code. I'm going to go a little bit faster here because this is something you already have finished. I don't think you have any question in this part, right? So let's start from the beginning. I'm going to go with different packages here, starting with Express. We know that. Next, we are going to use CORS. Next, we are going to use MySQL2. Next, we are going to use Crypto.js for, making your password confidential for security reason. We talked about that last time. Next, we need, what else do we need? We need Morgan for the logging purpose. We need Multer if needed. I'm not sure, but if needed, we can go for Multer. Multer is for uploading the file on the backend. Okay. So I think that would be sufficient to make our application here. I'm going to go back here, create a new file called as a server.js, and right inside this, we'll start creating a express application. As usual, this is going to be like const express, which is going to equals to require express. Let's create a new application. Before that, let's require all the requirements here. And the next one is like the course. You might have done that already. Next one, I think we need a Morgan. So this is going to be for logging purpose. Let's create a new application, create new React app. You know that const app is going to be equals to express. And let's start using all of the stuff. So app.use, first thing first, course, because without course, you won't be able to use this application outside your local machine. That's the first thing. Second, app.use Morgan. Morgan is for logging purpose. Morgan, and let's go for combined. Combined is like you get all the details immediately to see like what's going on. Next, you have to go for the maybe you can say express.json for JSON for the JSON body, and URL extended for the application /URL. This is where we can go for extended is equals to true. That's fine. I think that's more than sufficient. Next one, we'll have to go and say listen on a port number, let's say 4000 on 0.0.0.0, and let's add a callback function where we can see if the server starts successfully or not. Maybe I can say server started on port 4000. That's it. Very simple. In between this, we can say add the routes. This is where we are going to add the routes. Okay. Now let's go and create a directory called as the routes right here. And within this routes, we'll start creating our required routes. I need a couple of modules. One is like utils.js, and another one is like db.js. That's it. So both of them will be used for different things. Like utils will have all the utility functions, and db will have all the database connectivity functions. Okay, next, should I or should I not? Okay, I'll start with the routes first. Let's go. Oh, I'll start the database first. We'll create database connections and all of that stuff, and then we can start writing the code. Before that, I think we need the db.schema as well, or SQL file as well, where we can create database and then we can make it ready. So what are different things that we need? First thing first, I want to create database. So database, create database. Maybe I can say pizza_shop. That's an application that we are kind of developing. So that's a database name. Use pizza shop. Okay, and then start creating the tables. The first table is for user. You know that it's going to be very standard function, standard table. Create table named user. I generally keep everything in singular, and then we can add that type of records there. Number one is like ID. Every user will have an ID, which is going to be of type integer, which is going to be like primary key, and auto underscore increment. Okay, that's the first thing. Next, every user will have a first name, which is going to be like varchar. I think 100 is going to be too much. I think 50 is more than sufficient. Let's go for a couple of them. Let's going to be like the last name, email, and password. Password, make it at least 100, because when we are going for making it secure or encrypting a password, the length will increase. So make it 100%. That's fine. I'm going to add one more, create a timestamp, which is going to be like the timestamp. And this is going to be like having a default value, current timestamp. That's a function that will be called every time you create a new request, a new row inside the table. So first name, last name, email, password, I think more than sufficient for us. Next, I think we need another one for storing all the pizzas. So pizzas, I can call it as. So again, one more, create table called as a pizza, where we are going to store all the different pizzas here, right? Every pizza will have an integer. So maybe I can say again, let's copy this line here. Okay, so this is the one. ID, maybe pizza will have a name, for example. Maybe pizza will have some details, or you can say the ingredients and all of that stuff, whatever. So varchar, I think let's make it 1024. It will be a little bit bigger. It will have its price. So price will be having a type as a float. Next, what else? I think we need some more details, and you can add anything like the crust and the toppings and blah, blah, blah. Not interested in that. You can create your own configurations there. Image is very important for me. So image, again, varchar, let's say 100 characters more than sufficient. And as usual, there will be also created timestamp. That's it. So this will represent a pizza. Pizza in a sense, every type of pizza. I'm not getting the configurations here, like add toppings and blah, blah, blah. If you want, you can go for that. I'm showing a big picture here so that later on, if you want, you can add some more details. Like I would create another table called as the toppings where we can add different type of toppings, would create another one like sausage and all of the different stuff that you can think of, So you can give an option to user to configure the pizza as per the requirement. Like if I want to get a margarita and put some different toppings on that, I could do that, Depending again on your requirement, you can design your backend. But at this point, I want to complete the application. That's the reason kind of reducing the requirement so that, we can get a clear cut idea from start to end. How do we do the things here? Next one is the order. Very simple. Again, create table. Table name is order. This is going to be like order master. You cannot put all the order details in one single file, one single table. That's the reason why we are going for the other table here, like order master and order table, order details. Every order will have an order ID. So this is going to be like order ID. We'll be having a user ID where you can say like which user is placing this order. What is the total amount? Total amount. I'm going to make it, I'm sorry, amount. What the heck? Amount. Let's go for a float. And again, as usual, created timestamp. That is going to be default for all the tables that I'm going to use. I think that's more than sufficient. And lastly, there is going to be like order details. Order details. That's it. Okay. Now in the order details, it's going to be like almost similar. This is going to be like order details. It has its own ID, plus it has the order ID in it. Sorry, order ID. Not the total amount. It's like the pizza ID. Next, it's going to be like the quantity, like how many pizza that you're looking for. Quantity, it's going to be like integer. Yes, sir. A pizza ID is going to be integer. Sorry, my bad. While talking with the other things, I made a small mistake. That's integer. You're right, sir. Quantity is this, and then total amount for this transaction. So it's not needed to be storing that, but it's all right. We are going to store anyways. So total amount and I think created timestamp. It's all right. Hopefully that will do the job, I believe. Okay, I think that's more than sufficient. So now let's continue and let's see how do we get the table created, how do we get the schema created, and how do we start writing some code. By the time it is starting, because my MySQL is going to run inside the Docker, so it will take a minute. By the time it is doing the job, let me go back to the database and start using the database here. If you can recall, we talked about something called as a MySQL 2, and I said that when you are developing an application for your production, it's not recommended to create a connection and close it every single time. What is a better option? The better option is to go for something called as a pool. If you go for something like a pool here, this is where you can understand how do we get multiple connections created by default and how do we reuse them as we start creating here. That's called the pooling. So if you go for this connection pool, this is where we are going to use the stuff. Let me copy that and paste it here. I don't want to go for promise now. I'll just go for something like this. By the way, should I not? That's a question. I think it's better we can go with that. It's a very simple part that we can use the promise here and we can keep on using the promise all the time. The host on which MySQL is running, it's my local host. The user is a root. Let me go for a password root. That is what I already have configured my database here. We know database name here in our case is like a pizza and underscore or dash. I think it's an underscore, of course. How can I not knowing that? Wait for connection and all of that stuff. I'll keep them as default. And at the end of it, we'll say module dot exports. This is the pool. So this is a kind of a database connectivity that we are having in place. Now we just want to use this package everywhere. That's it. Simple as that. by the time, let me see if it is started. Okay, it started. Mongo is started. This is started, but nowhere I can see MySQL. Why the hell? I don't know. Let's go for this and create a quick, I'm sorry, docker run minus name, not some MySQL, minus name MySQL minus P 3306 colon 3306. What else do we need? Minus E. If you can recall that, guys, you already have seen this part. MySQL root underscore password. In my case, it is going to be like a root. And I think that's it, MySQL. So it will start creating that in a minute. By the time I'm going to go back to the routes and start creating my first route, you know, I don't know, need you. Let's create a first route for user.js. Generally, I keep the the route names in a plural form, like users.js. Now, right here, we'll start creating all the required functions on the users part. Like we start with the express again. Sorry, we start with the express. We say we need this express here. We need the router, which is going to be like which is going to be like express.router. And before I forget, I'm going to say module.exports router. You know this. Now, in users part, there will be only two routes for now. One of them is going to be like post login. Other one is like the registration. First, let's go for register, which makes sense. Register or sign up, whatever you can call it as. There'll be a request and there'll be a response. There'll be a response. Here we are. We need that DB and we need that utils. So DB, sorry, I can say const DB is going to be equals to require dot / DB. And similarly, utils, which is going to be equals to require dot utils. Utils, we haven't written any function yet. We are going to write that in a second. But for now, let's kind of create the structure. So there should be a sign up, there should be a sign in API. Okay. Now, right here in the sign up, we'll get the user details. Like I need the first name, last name, email, and the password, which is going to give me by this. I can extract this from the request.body like this. Okay. Now I think we need the other one as well, which is like the crypto.js. I can call it as a crypto.js, which is going to be equals to require. And right inside this, we can go for what the heck? Crypto.js. Here it is. Okay. So we got the plain password. First thing first, we have to encrypt the password. So you can say encrypted password, which is going to be equals to crypto.js dot. You can use anything. I'm going to use SHA-256 and pass the password. Don't forget to convert that in a string. This is how we are going to go for creating a simple encrypted password from this. Now we just have to write a query and execute it. So how do you do that? You can say const result, which is going to be equals to, because we are using this promise, I'm going to use async and await all the time. So async, we can say await pool dot execute, sorry, not pool, db dot execute. This is the DB, isn't it? This is the pool, and it should have the function called as pool dot execute. Do we have it? Yes, we do have it. It's not visible here for some reason, but I don't care anyways. Execute should have the first parameter as the query statement. So there is a statement. This is the way we are going to do it. And the second one is the params. Params is like an array which is having all the values here. Now let's create a statement which is going to be as simple as this. Insert into user. What do you want to insert? I want to insert the first name, last name, password, and blah, 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 like this. Values, better. And hopefully this is going to be like as straightforward as it can be. Values. And there will be 4 different values. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 values we are going to insert here. Okay. First name, last name, email, and not this password. It is encrypted password. That's it. We got the result. So again, don't forget when you are doing this async, await, and all of that stuff, It's always important for you to put everything inside the try catch. Otherwise, it may crash your application if there is something wrong happen between. Here we are going to send response.send, and here we'll send the response. Of course, here also we have to send a response. So response.send. What do you want to send? In a second, I'll tell you that. But before this, I think better for me to write this once and for all. In utils.js, I'm going to create, let's say, 3 functions to start with. Function, say, create error response, you can call it as, where we are going to say this is my error, and I'm going to say return status as an error, and let's send an error. That's it. I would call this as a create success. This is the data, in which case, I mean, if there is a success, in which case I'm going to send the status as success, and there is a data along with that status will be sending back to the user. And finally, this is going to be like create a result. I don't know what it is. I just want to say like error and the data better. So if error, we'll call that function and say return create error. If not, we can say create a response, which is of type success, and pass the data. That's it. We are kind of done with that. Don't forget to say module.exports, create error, create success, and create, what's the last one? Result. That's it. Now, because we are kind of sending this response all the time, it could be either success or it could be an error. Of course, there are only 2 possibilities here. So I'm going to go back to my user's case right here, and we can say, once you are having this, the result here, we can simply go back and say, if everything goes well, you can say utils.create success and pass the result to the user. I mean, this is like a result that we are passing, as simple as that. And if something goes bad, I can say create error and pass this exception. Simple as that. Okay. Sign in, we'll see it in a minute. I think we are done with this. We are done with this route for the user. So I can say const user route, which is going to be equals to require./route/users. And again, add that route by saying app.use user, and then this is the user router. User router, not route, it's user router. I think that would do the job. Okay. Before this, I think we have to see what the heck. It's already in use. Okay, let me see. ls minus L. It's a Mongo. It is running already. Seems like, okay, MySQL has already been created and someone is already listening on port number. Oh, like last time, if you can recall, I already have created this for you. Install this on this machine. That's the reason why it is not working. Access denied. Wonderful. What the heck? Does anyone recall? Test 1, 2, 3, 4 was the password, right? I believe that is the one. I'm sorry, not this one. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's a password. Wonderful. Let me change that here then. I thought maybe it was MySQL, but it seems like it's already been installed in the other demos last time. So I'm going to use that test 1, 2, 3, 4 before I forget. Okay. So now let's create this database and create the required tables in it. Create database. Use this database. Create this table. Create this table. There is some error. Curly bracket where? Line number. So sorry. My bad. Okay. And the same thing goes for the other because I copy pasted that. Yes. And no one corrected me. Wow. MySQL is telling me you should have told me that. Where are you looking at? What are you doing? Though it's a Saturday, you should pay more attention, you know? Okay, anyways, my tables are created now. Let me say show tables. And yes, they are there. Wonderful. I'm going to close it once and for all. And let's start our server and let's start getting this working. I'm going to go back here. I'll keep it running. Let's go for our directory. Guys, are you paying attention? I can see that. Anyways, let's start with nodemon server.js. It has started import. Sorry, it's not import. It's the require because this is not the way it should have been. Import MySQL is going to be equals to this. That's the reason why it was not showing me. But anyways, it got fixed, I believe. Something create pool is not a function. Wow. Require. And then we are done. Wonderful. It started on port number 4000. Okay, so let's go and open Postman. You guys already used a Postman, I believe. Wonderful. Let's create this one now. Where am I? I'm in MTech. No, sorry, not here. I'll have to switch back to Sunbeam. There are so many applications that we developed earlier. We'll go for another one named Pizza Shop. Okay, so let's create a new folder right here. Sorry, name the user. Let's create a new folder, name the user. And under this user, we'll create two requests. To start with, this is going to be my register or sign up request. This is a post request. I'm going to go back to the pizza shop, put a variable here, URL, http://localhost:4000. That's the URL I'm going to go with. And then I can start using, this is the one. Okay, so let's go back here and say this is the URL, user sign up. Within this, we have to pass the JSON body, and hopefully the JSON body would be as simple as the first name. Let's say this is going to be my user, say Amit. The last name, which is going to be like Kulkarni. Email, it's going to be like amit@test.com. And the password is going to be equals to test. I mean, there are multiple other fields that you can go for. This is just for a demonstration. Creating this one got a success. It seems like it got registered successfully. More importantly, status is equals to success. That means the user must have got created. If I go back and say select star from user, I should see the user got created successfully with the password confidential. It's kind of encrypted. Okay. It seems like this is the Morgan, which is telling me there was a request from this IP address on this date, on this time. It was a post request for user sign up, which was using HTTP 1.1. We got the successful execution of it and sent 200 here. 200 means successful response. That's it. That's the reason Morgan is very important to know, like, who has sent a request, what was your response with that, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's a Morgan, which is putting that line there. Anyways, my user got created successfully. I forgot to include one more package. No one reminded me that as well. I'm going to go back here and say it is JSON web token. Without that, how can you create JW token, right? So I forgot to do that. Let me do it now. And let's start the server one more time. Going back to the users and opening this or loading this, something called as JWT. We call this as JWT. We say that this is JSON web token. And in the sign in, we have to write the code to create a token. Okay. This is where we have the email. This is where we have the password. You know that it's going to be as simple as this. And simply, we have to copy and paste this code. Literally, I'm going to copy and paste this code all the time now because it's going to be like almost similar. Encrypted password is always there. Now, all we have to say here is select, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Select ID or select, okay, ID, first name, last name, email and password, we already are having it. From user, where number one, we have the email. So we can go for email is equals to this and password is going to be equals to this. This is the way we are kind of executing this query to check if the user exists. Again, don't forget, it has to be async, otherwise you will get an error. So this is like a db.execute statement. We don't need this first name and last name. We do need this email and encrypted password, and you are done. Simple as that. This is where we are getting the result as a kind of, result in a sense. This is kind of the users because it's a we can call it as a select query. That's the reason we will get the users here. For now, I'll go for sending the results as a users. But this is not the final result, so we'll have to create that result in a minute. I'm going to go back here and say is not needed. This is where we are going to go back and create, copy and paste this and say this is not a sign in, sign up copy. This is sign in. Right here, we will change it to sign in. Going back to the body, we don't need the first name, last name. We do need this email and the password. So if you look at this, getting an error, I believe. Oh, it's not started, is it? Yeah, it is started. Okay, will you do something? It's not going to put up anything. Wow. Let's put this one here and see. Console.log users. What is going wrong? Let's check this one more time. It's node, sorry. It should have been node mon. So it would restart on its own. And then send this request and boom, I got the response back. So I got this response. You can see that here I'm getting the actual request. Here I'm getting the actual response for that user. When you are using async await, what you're supposed to do here is like you should get the response by using this strategy. This is the way you should get the response back. That is like number of users. So if you send this request right now, you will see all the users which are matching with this criteria, the email address and the password. But this is not a response that we are supposed to return. We are supposed to return a JWT token. So we'll check if users.length, users.length is equals to 0. That means there is no user with this email address and the password. So we can say response.send create an error saying user does not exist. Standard message. Else, that means user does exist. In that particular case, I can say this is like user, that's the first user from the users array. And probably I'm going to create a token. So maybe I can say token, which is going to be equals to JWT dot sign. We need to create the payload here. In the payload, there'll be an ID, which is like the user's ID. You can put user of ID as well. I want to put that email address and the first name, last name as well. First name, which is going to be equals to user's name. So user's first name. I think those more than sufficient. And then maybe you can call it a secret. Let me create a new file called as a config.js and say right inside this, we'll create a secret which can be shared amongst multiple models. So models.export, let's create a secret. Let's make it really a secret, by making it a little bit difficult to guess. So maybe I can just go for and say generate secret. Random keygen or just generate a secret. I think that is smaller. Let's go for a bigger one, this one. It's very hard to guess. So it's very secure, you can call it as. Let's go and import this and say config, which is going to be equals to require /config. And then we can simply say here config.secret. You have the token. Now you can simply go back and send this as a token. If you want, you can send the first name and the last one too. This is the first name, this is the last name. And this is the last name. Wonderful, we are done. So now we are kind of looking for the sign-in response. If I send it, this is how I can get the response. Data is having a token, first name and the last name. If I pass a wrong password, let's say this is test1, which is a wrong password. If I send it, I'll get, oh, I'm still getting that response. Wow. I'm still getting the success. Why? Let's check this. What am I passing? Let's check that here. Username, password. Let's put the statement. Email and the password is equals to this, isn't it? That's right. Email and the password is equals to this. Let's put the users for a minute and see what am I getting there back. Sending it. How can we get this one? Okay, let's pass some different password. This is completely wrong. That's why it's working. Anyways, so let's pass it a wrong password. That's the reason it's kind of giving me an unsuccessful response, which is what we are expecting. Pass the right response and we get the password. We get something which is not working. Let's see why is it. Let's go for the users and say it is empty. Wonderful. Let's see what is the encrypted password. encrypted passwords. It should have worked, but let's see. Where is it going wrong? This is the password that we are having here. Oh, this is the completely different password, isn't it? Let's delete this and let's create the user again. Truncate. This was something wrong last time. User, truncate user. There was something wrong because I made a mistake here while sending the password. So what has happened? It has created encrypted password of undefined. That's the reason why it's not working. Anyways, now that is corrected. Let's create a new user. Let's go back and let's pass the right password and see it is working. Let's pass the wrong password and see it is not working. So it's confirmed. I hope you got the problem, right? There was a spelling mistake of password. That's the reason it took it as an undefined and it created an encrypted password of undefined. That's why it was not matching. Anyways, it got fixed. Wonderful. So now my both the APIs are ready. Let's dive into the next part. That's getting the pizzas sent to this here. I need some data, right? Let's go back here in DB and let's create some pizzas. There's a reason behind choosing this application today. It's a Saturday. Let's have a pizza party. That's the reason. Anyways, let's go for a couple of pizzas. Insert. Sorry. Let's go and say insert into pizza. What do you want to insert? You want to insert the pizza's name, pizza's details, pizza's price, and pizza's image. Okay, let's say these are the values. Okay, that's the first one. Let's add some pizzas. Do you know any website where we can get these things? I need some images as well. Which is this pizza? I don't know. Let's copy and paste it. I hope you're also feeling hungry now. Even if you feel hungry, who cares? Let's say pizza one. I don't know which pizza is that. This is pizza one. Let's see which pizza is this. What is the name of that pizza? Let's put something. I'm not a pizza guy, so I'm not knowing all the names and other stuff. I'm gonna copy and paste from somewhere. Pizza Hut. Where can we find some pizzas? Nope. Where do I get the pizzas? Domino's. Domino's. Yes, yes. We got tons of them. Our menu. Yeah. I'm looking. Oh, yeah. Here it is. We got the ready-made one. Veg pizza. Wonderful. Let's order. How many of them here? Let's order this many pizzas today. A delightful veggie lovers. Where? And what price it is? They have not talked about the pizza price. It's free. My God. See, nowhere they mentioned the price. What the heck? Order now. And then, oh, still there is no price. It seems like it's free of cost. Who cares? For us, it is not. Yes, I'm going to go back and say 99 rupees. And the image for me, I think we got the image here as well. So I can copy and paste that image from here. Save this image. Sorry. Save this image. Saying pizza one. That's the name. And pizza one. Okay, that's a web p. I don't care. Pizza one dot web p. Whatever it is. Pizza one dot web p. That's it. That's my first pizza. Let's create another one. Non-veg pizza or pizza mini. That's not a pizza actually, I believe. This is the pizza, right? Margarita is the pizza. Veg pizza is the category, I should say. Truly popular, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Feeling a bit hungry, guys? I don't like this, but still. This is a double cheese margarita. Fine. It seems like it's very healthy. Double cheese, 199 because it's a double. And say this is a pizza 2.webp. I'm going to create only one pizza and then we are going to continue further. Sorry? I'm not getting you what you said. Yes, it's pizza 2. You are right. Someone is at least looking at the screen. Thank you for that. And the last one, that's the last one. What is the last one? What the heck? What's the name? I mean, I can't understand. Farmhouse. What do you mean by that? You're gonna eat that in the farmhouse, or you need to purchase a farmhouse to eat this pizza? What do you mean by this? Can't get that. Let's go for 299. Pizza 3.webp. Okay, that's it. Let's store this and wrap it up. This is the last one. Pizza 3. That's it. We are done. Oh, the names are totally different. That was WebP, but these two, 1 and 2, both of them are JPEG. Thank God I saw that. Otherwise, in the front end, it wouldn't have worked. JPEG. That's it. Okay, we are done. I think 3 pizzas are more than sufficient for us to test the application. Okay. Going back here and inserting this, got them. Select star from pizza. So I got all of them. That's good. That's great. Wonderful. Fine. So now we are going to go back and create a small route for this. It's going to be as simple as that. Creating a route for pizza.js. It's going to be like almost similar to this. Copy and paste all the things here. And out of that, we do not need these 3. The rest are needed anyways. Don't forget module.exports, which is going to be equals to a router. And there's only one route I'm going to add right now. I mean, if I want to develop this application in the real world, I would create an admin panel where we have all the different routes like post, put, delete, and so on and so forth. But for now, we are making it static. That's the reason I'm going to have only one. That's get, where we have to say, again, async, request, and the response. I believe you are here, guys. Are you? Okay, let's hope so. Result. Await. We have to say db.execute. We need a statement and we need some array. There is no parameter in this one, so I don't have to worry about that. Don't forget, catch exception right here. And then we can say response.send, utils.create error. This is an exception. Okay, we need a statement. Sorry, we need a statement. Query statement, I can say, where we can select all. When you are writing the code, please make sure that do not use a star anywhere in the program. Always put the list of columns that you're looking for. It's like ID, name, details, what else? Image and the price, right? From pizza. That's it. I think we are done. Now we can send that response.send, say utils.create result, sorry, create success. And then we can pass this result here. That's it. We are done. Going back to my server.js, let's add one more route by saying pizza router, which is going to be equals to a require dot slash routes slash pizza. And let's create one more route for pizza and say pizza router. That's it. Let's go back to our collection, Postman collection, create a new directory. Sorry, create a new directory here, add a folder. We call this as pizza. And right there, only one route is sufficient for testing. It's like get all, for example. This is where we can say URL, say slash pizza. And that's it. I'm getting all of them, right? So everything is looking really good. The only question here is, I don't want anyone to use my application unless it is logged in, unless the user is logged in, right? So I'm going to make it protected. Protected in the sense, I want user to first send the token. Unless the token is there, I don't want anyone to see this. Right now it's open. How do I make it protected? To make it protected, we have to ask user to send a token. To send a token, we have to first write some code here, configure protected routes. Very simple, sorry, protected routes. App.use, here we are going to write a middleware. This middleware is going to use or going to get a request, a response, and the next. And right here, we'll check what is the current status of that token. I need both of them. It's going to be like JWT which is which is going to be equals to require JSON web token, and we need the config as well, which is going to provide me the secret. So require dot slash config. Wonderful. Here I am. I'm going to check like what is the URL right now. So if the request dot URL, or better, maybe I can say const skip URLs. Not every route has to be protected. You cannot protect sign up and sign in, because otherwise it will be a chicken and egg problem, you know. So skip URLs, there is one like slash user slash sign up, and there's another one slash user slash sign in. Both of them cannot be protected. Those have to be open, you know. So request, I'm going to go back here and say if skip URLs dot find index, or maybe you can say find index item is going to be equals to, item, which is going to be equals to the request dot URL. If it is equals to this, is equals to, or it's not equals to -1, or equals to -1, whatever. Equals to -1 means it's not present in this. If it is not present, you will ask user to send the token, you know. Or if it is available, maybe I can say if it is not equals to, that means this is not the one which is kind of available here. When I say this user is going to sign in, it will come back here and it will fall in this particular if case. If it is, there is nothing, skip this, you know, don't do anything. But if it is not something like sign up or sign in, we have to ask user to send the token. So this is the token I'm going to ask user to pass along with every single request henceforth. Token, which is going to be equals to a request dot headers dot get, or maybe we can say request dot headers of token. If the token is missing, if no token is present, we are going to send a response back from here itself and say response dot send. We need the utils as well for this. Const utils, again require dot slash utils, and we need to say that, hey, utils dot create error, and say missing token. That's an error. If the token is available, we'll try to verify it. Again, try const data, or const, we call it as a payload, which is going to be equals to jwt dot verify. This is the token and this is the secret that we have used last time to create the token. If everything goes well, we are going to say request dot data is going to be equals to payload. So right inside this, we'll add the payload, and then we call the next function. If there is an error while you are unwrapping it or while you are verifying it, you are again going to say this is invalid token, missing token, invalid token. So if user has not sent a valid token, we again are going to send a response back to the user. I hope this is simple for you to understand. Now let's see what happens now. If I'm going back to this same URL which was working earlier, and if I send it, I should get a error saying, hey, you're not sending a token here. So this means now it is protected. If it is protected, I'll have to jump back to the sign in and then grab the token. This is the wrong password. This is the right password. So I need to grab this token and pass it along with this request right here. Header. Right here, we can say token. This is the token. Hold on, I don't want to do it. I'm going to go back here to my variables and say this is the token. It's not a good idea to copy paste this all the time. It's better you create a variable and use that variable wherever you want to use it. So tomorrow if the token changes, you don't have to go and use it every single time on every single request. Change it only one place and you are done. So this is the token. I'm so sorry. This is the token I'm going to use and say send. Boom, everything starts working. I hope things are clear to you. Now it's kind of done. Now we know like this is protected. We can write the last part and then we can stop this. Stop working on the backend and we'll jump on the front end. Okay. Can you tell me like what exactly the last piece of, last piece is remaining here in this application? We have the users, we have the pizzas, you can say. What is missing? Orders. That's it. That's it. So I'm going to go back here, create a new orders route. Are you all paying attention, guys? I believe you. Okay. And this is the router. Okay. Now two things. We need a get orders and we need post orders. Okay. So maybe I can say router.get. This is where we are going to get the orders. Again, async. This is the request and the response. Okay. Now, when you say you are getting the orders, that means you just have to go for that table orders and fetch all the orders sent by this user. So I'm gonna go back here and say, what am I looking for? This is async. Fine. So this is gonna be like, what the heck? Try. This is like const orders, which is gonna be equals to await. We need that db dot execute. We need the statement. And there is no actual parameter. There is one parameter. We'll see that in a second. So this is the statement. The statement would be very simple. I hope you can create a query easily by saying select ID, then the total amount. Total amount. I think I should call this as order.id, order.total amount, order.created timestamp. This is the first set of parameters or first set of columns from orders. Then we need the details as well. Details dot. No, I think it's better for me to keep it simple for now. From order and where user ID is going to be equals to question mark. Where do I get the user ID from? Last time in my request, we have added the data, and inside the data, there is a kind of ID. So if you look at the server.js, here I added the data and payload has an ID. So I can say request.data.id. This will give me all the orders, whatever the orders that I'm getting, I'm going to say response.send utils.create success orders. That's it. If there is any error, let's catch that exception and send maybe erroneous response to the user. Utils.create error and then send that yes. That's it. Okay, quite done. Last, no, there's one more actually needed. Get the order details, It's going to give me only the order, maybe you can say summary of order, not the details of the order. So maybe I can say get the order details of this order, where I can get that ID from my request.params. So I'm going to go for getting all the details from, that's going to be like the ID. Take a second. If it is going to be single table, I don't think we should go for using that order and other stuff because it's not needed. I thought maybe I wanted to go for, both of them, and no one is correcting me. It's not a order. It should be order master. Am I right? It seems like I'm the single person sitting here and doing my own practice. Am I right? Few of you are saying yes for that as well. See, where are you? Anyways, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the pizza ID, right? Then the quantity, and the total amount. That's it. Of course, created date as well. Created timestamp. From order details, where the order ID, not user, where the order ID is going to be equals to ID. That's it. The rest of the things will be almost similar. This is like a details. I'm going to send it here. That's it. Wonderful. Last, and then we are done. Router.post. This is where we are going to create an order. Creation of order is a little bit different, because it requires you to modify two tables simultaneously. First, let's see what are different things that we will get from our front end. So from front end, we are going to get the cart items, or maybe we can say items only. That's it. Request.body. This will be an array for me. Items. It will be an array for me. Array of all the products or all the pizzas along with their quantities. Okay. So what am I supposed to do here is like first get the total amount. So items and the total amount. First create an order ID, So first thing first, I should say, sorry, let me put a comment here and say create an order first. This can be done. This can be done by using, again, don't forget, try catch. It's always there and it always have to be there, right? So again, as usual, send utils dot create error ex. That's the first step. Step number one is going to be like create an order. How do I create an order? Maybe I can say const. This is an order where we can say, what's the name here? Yeah, db dot execute. This is the statement. Statement insert or statement order, for example, and here are the parameters. Okay, first you can create that statement order, which looks like this. Insert into order master. Will you please help me, guys? User ID, total amount, right? So the other two parameters we need to insert. Where do I get them? Of course, we need to get them from the insert into this. We have to get them from the body here. Values. This is the first parameter and this is the second parameter. The first parameter is the user ID, where we can go for request.data.id, and the total amount is anyways there. This is the one which will give you the order details, which are just being inserted, If you look at this, this is how your response would look like. There will be this is an array, and out of that, you will get a inserted ID or insert ID, to be very honest, like this one. I hope you are there and you are getting it. Are you? This will give me insert ID. So if I want to find out what's that order ID, so const order ID, order ID, which is going to be equals to order dot insert ID. This is the one that we are looking for. For now, I'll put that order in console so we can understand like what's getting here. And this is where we can say step 2, find the new order ID. That's it. Last step is to insert the details. That's it. And we are done. Step 3, insert the order details. How do you do that? There are multiple items that we are going to get in that collection. So from const item of items, this is where we are getting the order items from the user. We can simply go back here and write the similar code here. Similar code. We don't have to do this. We can simply say this is the one. Order details, we'll call it as. This is the order details. Okay. This is going to be like order, what the heck? Order details. In order details, we are supposed to insert the pizza ID, I believe, the total amount and the quantity. That's it. So there are 3 things here. The first one is the pizza ID. Oh, sorry. I need to have the order ID as well. Order ID. There are 4 question marks. Wonderful. So we need the order ID. You have the data here now. We can say order ID, the one which we already have captured on line number 52. This is the one. Second one is the pizza ID. This is there in my item. Pizza ID. Then there is a quantity, again, item dot or of quantity. And lastly, this is going to be the total amount. This is like items total amount. That's it. This is how we are going to execute this. And this will insert the order first and the order details last. And once you are done with this, probably all I need to send here is like, all I need to send here is like create success and say done. You are done. That's how it is. Are you getting a kind of bits of it? Probably when you recall, or sorry, when you exercise this on your own later, hopefully you will definitely understand that, if I'm not mistaken. What is going wrong here? That's not needed. Okay, so now it is there. I'm going to go back and add this route in this case by calling it as order router, which is going to be equals to require dot slash routes slash order. Sorry, slash what the heck? Orders. Lastly, I'm going to go back here and call this as order and say order details. Okay, I'm saying order router. That's it. You're done. Now let's go back to our Postman collection, create one more directory. Let's create a new folder. We call it as an order, and there will be two APIs inside it. And request. This is like get orders for me. So this is going to be like URL order, and then we can go back here. We need to add a token, otherwise we'll get an error, token missing. So let's add a token. And then if I try to look at this, I don't have any order because that's the first time we are calling that API, right? There is no order being placed yet. Let's place a new order now. So I'm going to go back here, add a request. I can say place order. Okay. This is going to be a post request. Again, URL. I'm so sorry. URL. Right here, it is going to be like order. And there, again, don't forget, we need a token. In that, there is a token. And inside body, this is the request I'm expecting, First thing first, in this, there will be a total amount. So let's say total amount. We'll put the total amount in a minute. For now, I'll put it as a 0. And this is going to be an items, which is an array. In this, every single object will have a kind of an item ID or a pizza ID, I believe. Pizza ID 1. Then there should be a quantity. Quantity is 1 and a total amount, which is, I believe the first pizza is for 99 rupees, right? Let's add the second pizza, one quantity. What was it? 199, I believe. I hope so. So it's going to be like 99 plus 199, 298, and that is a total order for me. Sorry, 298. And this is going to be the structure for my incoming object request. So I'm going to go back, send it. It gives me an error for some reason. Let me see what is an error here. Sorry, I think we need to say post order. That's right. Is it calling? Is it called? What the heck? I mean, I didn't get any error on the console though. I did not see any console error. Let's see where it is going wrong or whether it is going wrong. First thing. Let's put an exception as well. And see where it is getting wrong. Send it. It's still giving error. Okay. Object is not iterable. Where is it giving me error? Line number 48 is where it is giving an error. Line number 48 is here. Oh, sorry. This is insert request. How can I expect it from this one? Let's put it now. It is saying done for some reason. And hopefully it is working as well. I'm not sure. It is kind of sending the request. Let's send it one more time. Send it. It says it is done, but it is giving me an error on some to pass SQL statement specify null. Where is it giving an error? Let's check this. It's crashing somewhere. Oh, sorry. I did not put the await, I believe. It says the promise is pending. Do you see that? It says the promise pending. That means I forgot to say await here. That's the reason why it didn't work. Did I put the await here? No, I didn't. It's my bad. Let me put the await and hopefully this time it should work. Before that, let me truncate orders or orders. No, sorry, order master. And there's nothing in the order details I know, but still, let's not take a risk and say 0. Now let's give it a shot and see what happens. Oh, there is an error. Bind parameters cannot be undefined. Somewhere it is giving me undefined. Let's see where it is. This is the result. Okay, that's the reason. In fact, it is an array. That's the reason why it is kind of not working. So I should have said, this is again the structure that we are getting, can't help. So here we are saying this is an order. Maybe I can say the order ID is going to be like order of 0. Order of 0 will give you this object, and within that, we are looking for the insert ID. So within this, there is an insert ID. So hopefully this should work. Now, let's give it a shot. Again, before this, let's clear both of them. There was one object or one row we inserted last time. Let's say this time. Oh, still it is giving me an error. Why? Let's check that. Must not contain undefined. Somewhere it is going for undefined. Somewhere it is not working. Let's check this where it is going wrong by putting out all the things here. console.log, and then put this array as is. Sorry, let's put this one as is. Let's see whether it is going wrong or where it is going wrong. Let's send it. So this is like 1. 2 is order ID, that's right. Second parameter is going undefined. What is the second parameter? Pizza ID. What the heck? It's not the pizza ID. It's the pizza ID. And no one is correcting me. Wonderful. That was a spelling mistake. All the order details are placed successfully. Watch this. I'm going to go back, delete my order master, delete my order details, and now I'm going to place a new order, the fresh order. The order got successfully inserted. If I go back and try to get my orders back, I should see one order is now placed. Do you see that? This is an order. This is the total amount, 298. How do I get the order details? Okay, all we need to do here is call one more API, add a request. Let's say get order details. And you know, there is an API there. So maybe I can say URL. This is an order and details. ID of order that 1. Don't forget to put the token. And you are done. So if you go back and you can see within that order, we have ordered pizza 1 with quantity 1, pizza 2 with quantity 1. I hope this is looking all okay to you. Is it? Zinda ho? Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. You can't do that here. For this, we'll have to write the stored procedures. Unless there's a stored procedure, you can't go for that, right? So this is a normal, this is a not normal, I would say, but this is the single query that we are executing, okay? And that's the reason. If you look at this, I'm putting both of them under one single try catch, meaning one of them is failed, the other one will not continue further, okay? But that doesn't mean like the previous inserted row will also got away or it will get deleted automatically. That will not happen, okay? If you want to do this, you'll have to first go for writing the stored procedures, okay? Wonderful. Okay, so are we all clear on that? Are ha ya na? Last thing, and then we will stop on backend part because everything is working fine, but nowhere I'm getting like which pizza am I ordering here? Because ultimately when I want to show the order details, I want to show like the pizza name. Right now, it's like only the pizza ID I'm getting, okay? Maybe I can say from order details and maybe I can go for the pizza. So from this, where order ID is equals to this, and let's put it like the pizza dot ID is going to be equals to order details, sorry, dot pizza ID. That's it. Let's add one more. Let's going to be like pizza dot name and pizza dot details. If you want, you can use the pizza dot price as well, so that it will be once and for all we'll get all the details in the order API, because that is going to be needed when we are creating the API. Created timestamp is ambiguous, which is right. So we'll have to say order details. Okay, now it is hopefully good. I should see. I placed a order for pizza 1, which is like margarita, blah, blah, blah. Price was 99. Yes, total amount is 99. And same goes for the other one. So now my APIs are almost ready. We should start focusing on the front end part. Shall we? Are we still willing to continue further? Okay, let's continue then. Even if you would have said no, we still would have continued, you know that. But still, I just want to get a confirmation whether you are still live or not. I'm going to go back here on the other workspace, and here I'll create the new backend, I'm sorry, the front end part of it. So going back here in Sunbeam 2023, September, pizza shop, code, and this is the front end. I don't need to do this. I'm going to go back and directly create a new application here. Okay, npx create React app, you know, this is going to be like the front end. I'll call this as a front end. It will take a minute or two, and then we'll start creating the front end application. Okay. Now, by the time it is doing here, let me go back and tell you what all different things that we should put inside the front end. at least we should have these components. There should be a login component. There should be a sign in or sign up. We can call it as sign in and sign up. These two components. Once user signs in successfully, I should show user the home page where we can see the list of pizzas available. Then there should be a cart component. There should be an order component. So I can see the orders placed by this user. Orders component. So at least these many components will be needed in our application, which will be kind of, protected from the tokens and all of that stuff. Good things there. We'll see one by one. So there'll be two paths we can say. One is like the authentication, or you can say authorization part, and the other one is like the normal application path. There are two paths we have to walk now. Hopefully the application got created. Wonderful. Let's add a few dependencies here before we start the application. Go for the front end and say yarn add. What all different things I need? I need Axios. Hold on. I think I have got that last command still available. React router DOM, without which we can't go for routing part. React Redux. This is for cart implementation. Redux toolkit is a dependency which is required for making that Redux available in our application. Axios, you know what it does. React Toastify, it's for showing a good new, the toast messages. Bootstrap is for Bootstrap, and Sass, if you want, you can. It's not needed. Sass is mainly used for customizing Bootstrap if it is needed to be. I don't want to, but still, I'm just telling you that it can be done. So these are the goodies that we are going to install. And without this, we won't be able to make our application complete. Let's see. We'll take a minute and then we can start configuring our configure our application, configure our first component. Let's see. Wonderful. That's great. So now the application is ready. At least it got created. Let's go and start configuring it. And before this, I think it's better for me to say yarn start. And before even to do this, let me create a new window so that it will open right here in this workspace. I don't want to switch between the workspace all the time. Okay, so it got created wonderfully. Let's go back here. Go to the go to the SRC. You see, that's the default application. Everyone knows that. So all I need to do now is like remove this and start putting up my pages there. Okay. To do this, I'm going to go back here in this app.js. It's not needed. So let's remove this part. This is not needed. Instead, I'm going to go for something like a container. So we'll see how do we add the Bootstrap now. This is not needed. This is not needed. Let's remove this. This is not needed. I'm going to change that JS to JSX so that I don't have to write everything by hand. When I say JSX, all the HTML core, those are generally called as Zen coding styles. So all of them would start working automatically for me. Next, app.test.js is not needed. We can skip that. Importantly, I'll have to start creating the routes configuration, right? And we have to add the Bootstrap as well, because if I go back here and say button BTN, let's say BTN success, and say this is like a test, it would not show me the Bootstrap button here. Bootstrap success button with the green background. We already have seen that, right? Doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that just because Bootstrap is still not added. How do you add this? To add this, we can go for something like, create a React app. Maybe you can search for the Bootstrap directly. So this will tell you what is the standard way, or you can say recommended way to add the Bootstrap. All we need to do here is add this line in your index.js. So going back to my index.js somewhere here and writing or adding this line here, bootstrap/this/css/bootstrap.css. So this is the way we can do it. If you want, you can add the tilde sign as well. If you add a tilde sign, that means it's like node modules. Inside there's a Bootstrap. Inside that there's a distribution, that's dist. Inside that there's a CSS. And last one is a bootstrap.css. If I go for this application, wow, it's kind of not working. Wonderful. It seems like they are having a dependency now. Okay, that's fine. I can see that the test button is looking like a success button. That means Bootstrap is now enabled in my application. Are we all getting the point? Wonderful. Now let's continue further and let's start putting up all of all our components. There should be at least, as I said in my requirement, there should be at least 5 components: sign in, sign up, home, cart, and orders. Okay, so going back here in my SRC, I'm going to create the structure. Structure would look like this. There'll be components if you are creating some. This is like a component library, you can say. Then there will be pages. Then there will be services. Sorry. There will be services, because right here we will be writing code to communicate with our backend service, so services. So pages, components, and services. Within the pages, we need to create 5 pages to start with. If needed, we can add more, but we'll see that later. First thing first, this is going to be like the sign up page .jsx, and here we'll create one sign up component. Probably we know how do we create a page. All we need to do here is export function sign up, right? Which is going to be a function component, which is going to return for now nothing but a simple, H1 saying this is going to be like sign. Nothing other than that needed. Again, do not forget export default. The name here is sign up. That's it. Okay. So this is the sign up component. Now let's continue further and create the other components as well. Sign in.jsx, and this is the sign in component. All we need to do here is say sign in, say sign in, say sign in. This is the standard practice I follow. Before I start writing the application, I should have all the clear-cut idea before, or maybe clear-cut idea in front of me, so that I can understand what needs to be done. This is generally called as designing. If you can recall, we talked about this, something called the SDLC, and there we talked about 6 different phases. I hope you still recall that, Out of those 6 different phases, the third phase is called as design. This is what we are doing right now. So before design, there is no point writing a single line of code. That's the reason why I gave an idea. Like this is something that I'm expecting from this application. There'll be 5 components. Once I understand there are the 5 components, I'll first create the empty components, set up the route, router, and then I start writing the code in each and every page. That's a standard practice. For the standard practice, you will be in a good books. Let's see. Going back here, I can say this is the sign in component. Wonderful. I need 3 more components. Out of that, this is the one JSX. Going back here, this is the home component. Here will show the list of pizzas available. Home component. There is one more. It's going to be like order component, JSX. Order so actually not order so, but okay, order so. There we will see a list of orders placed by this user. This is like orders component, sorry. And lastly, there is a cart component. So this is going to be like the cart.jsx, and you are almost done. This is like the cart, user's cart. Here we'll be using something called as a Redux. This will be a good use of Redux. How do we use the cart items and other stuff? Okay. Okay, fine. So hopefully these are my empty screens. These are kind of added. Now let's go and first set up our React router. To do this, I need to first go for in that index.js and add this whole application inside browser router. You know this. So going back here, we can call this as a browser router. Put that app inside the browser router. Browser router is the one which is going to give you the routing capability, and routing is based on the URL parameters. So this is the browser router, which is now added in my index.js. I can freely use it anywhere in the application. So right here inside my div container, this is somewhere I'm going to go for registering all my routes. So this is going to be like routes, and within this, there'll be different routes. This is my first route. In that first route, I'm going to say the path is going to be equals to /login, or that's my default one. So I can call this as /. I can also say that it's called as an index route as well. See, routing itself is a big topic. If I want, I can just continue for at least 2 to 3 sessions just to talk about how the routing works. There are many different things in the routing. For now, I'm just giving you an overview of it. So this is like route index, you can say. And the element for this is going to be login. Login means for us, it's like a sign in. Sign in. Hey, why is it not auto importing for me? For some reason, let me import it myself. Import sign in. It should have, but it's all right. Slash pages slash sign in. That's all right. So this is the sign in page, If I go back to my application, it should by default load the sign in page because I said that this is the index route. Index route means the route which is going to get loaded by default. This is the index route. Okay, next route. So after this, every route should have its own path. To be honest, you can go for creating a path and say this is like a slash. It's also right, but this is what we can say. Anyways, the sign up, which is where we are having the element, which is going to be, let's say, sign up. For some reason, it's not loading automatically. It should have, but it's all right. I'm not going to blame anyone here. That's it, sign up. I think we need 3 more. So let me copy and paste all of them. Home, orders, and what's the last one? Cart. Home, orders, and a cart. Wonderful. Oops. Yeah, I need them here. So that's my first home, second orders, and last cart. So here again, home, orders, and a cart. Wonderful. Now my routes are set. Probably all I need to do now here is I just want to check it. If I say sign up, is it going there? Yes, it is. If I say orders, is it going there? Yes, it is. If I say home, is it going there? Yes, it is going there. And lastly, what the heck? If I say cart, is it going there? Yes, it is. This is the step-by-step process. What happens generally, people do not worry about this and they start writing the code, and after writing the thousands of lines of code, then they start testing and something goes wrong and they get frustrated. Don't do that. Always start with the simplest approach. Simplest approach says, take a baby step. Baby step in sec, just add a component, see if it is working. Add the routing, see if it is working. Make sure whatever steps that you are taking, those steps are working full and final. You don't have to come back and unnecessarily waste your time doing the same thing here. That's the reason. This is the general practice I follow. When I start creating an application, I first get the design in front of me. Then I create all the different pages. Then I put the router in place. And then I start writing the coding each and every page individually. I hope this will be useful for you when you are going to work on your project. Those who are thinking a lot by closing their eyes, probably they're thinking about the same thing, I believe. But it's all right. I'm just telling you right now, even if your eyes are not open, still your ears are open, you can hear me out. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So where are we right now? What have we done? Can you tell me what have we done? Yes, we have created all the routes or maybe all the pages, and then all the pages are properly configured. Okay. Now, yes, sir. What's the difference? I'll show you the difference here. Why I prefer using the JSX here. Let's say, for example, this is not anyways from coding point of view, no difference you will find anywhere. It's just a matter of practice. See the problem. I want to write this cart as a H1 cart. How would you write it? I would say like H1 cart and something like that, right? I don't know whether you have done it, but when you are in Visual Studio Code, you say H1 and say tab, it automatically completes if the extension is .html. It's not doing right now. Why is it not doing it? Because the extension is JS and Visual Studio Code knows, hey, this is not HTML where you can expect me to complete it or auto-complete it. That's the reason why it is denying it. But there's a way to do it. You can still keep this JS, go back to the bottom part of your Visual Studio Code and say, hey, this is not JavaScript. This, click on that. This is not JavaScript. This is a React JavaScript called as JSX. So if you go for JSX, now if you say H1, it automatically completes it. But how many times would you set up? Every single time you have to go down and you have to change that. This is not JavaScript, this is JavaScript JSX or JavaScript React. So if you are okay with that, you can still use the JS. I am kind of a lazy person. I told you earlier as well. I'm a lazy person. I don't want to do that. Instead, if I change this to JSX, sorry, if I change this to JSX, this would automatically take care of setting it to JavaScript JSX here. I don't have to keep on setting it. That's the benefit of using the JSX extension. It's just an extension which will make your life so simple. Check this. Now you are free to use your all shortcuts that you have done earlier. For example, I'm going to create this H1 with the title. Just say dot title, and this will expand it, the H1 class name title. All of this goodies that you already have seen working with HTML, right? So it will enable, this is generally called the Zen coding style. The one which I'm showing you here, dot, hash, and all of that stuff. This is called as a Zen coding style. If you want to include that Zen coding style in React.js, change the extension from JS to JSX. Clear, sir? Wonderful. Okay. Not that I'm having any title here, but I'm just going to show that anyways. That's it. Okay, so now my now my components are ready. Let's start configuring every single component step by step. Okay. I think logically it makes sense for us to start with the sign-in screen, because unless there is a sign-in, I cannot go for home, I cannot place my orders, I cannot add any pizza in the cart, and so on and so forth. So logically, it makes sense for me to go for creating or configuring the sign-in component. There I am, sign-in component. In the sign-in component, first thing first, let's go back. By the way, in React, if you're using something like this is perfectly valid. I don't know whether you know this, but it's perfectly valid. This is generally known as a fragment. So you can create a fragment with this less than greater than fragment, or you can simply put it like this, and this will create a fragment for you. Okay. Anyways, I want to go back to my index.css, and once and for all, I'll define this something called the title, where I'm going to say like text align is center, and margin on top, let's say 20 pixel, and margin on bottom is 20 pixels, so that I don't have to write this for all. I need this for every single screen. I'm going to put the title, where I can say a class name is going to be equals to title. This is my sign-in script. And if you look at this, we'll have to refresh it for a minute. Is it included somewhere? Let's go back here and say it is included. It is included. Oh, this is a title, which is all right. I can see that. Oh, sorry, my bad. How stupid I am. Now that is okay. I can see sign-in is in place. Rather, all of them, I'm going to put the title as a class name, so that all of them will go in the center part of it. Now let's design this sign-in, which is going to take hardly a few minutes for us to get it done. I'm going to start with div form. This is Bootstrap. In the div form, I'm going to create all the different entities in different divisions with the name div MB3. Probably you might know this. M stands for margin, B stands for bottom, 3 stands for 3, rem. Rem stands for, or rem is nothing but the emphasis. There are two ways you can configure the emphasis, M and a rem. So this is like a 3 rem, means normally if it is 1 pixel, when I say 3, it's going to like 3 into 1, 3 pixels. So that's how the rem works. Rem and M works in CSS. Anyways, coming back here, I'm going to go back and say label. This is where I'm expecting user to enter the email with the input, whose class would be form control. The type should be email naturally. And I'm going to put the placeholder here for user to understand what am I expecting. It's like abc@test.com. This is a kind of a suggestion given to the user. So this is the UI. It would look like this, email, and this is going to get an input from user for an email. I think next time onwards, it just copy paste. Oh, don't say copy paste. It's a reuse, So password here, and if it is a password, the type has to be password. Otherwise, it won't be masked. Password, I'm just going to put XXXXX so that user can understand this is the password, which is kind of not shown to the others. It's like a mask to users. Okay, last one is where we are going to add 2 buttons. Rather, one button is more than sufficient. BTN dash, you may go for primary, you may go for success, you may go for warning, secondary, info, list, danger, and there are a bunch of others. Total, there are 9 different options available in Bootstrap. Anyways, I'm going to say this is going to be like signing. If I go for it, this is how it would look like. Not bad, I would say. To make it even centrally, I'm going to create a row like this. Within that, I'll create 3 columns. So we can divide the row in 4 columns each. It's like 4 columns, 4 columns, 4 columns. Maybe we can say div col 1, 2, 3. And if I want, I can put this one in the middle row so that it will come in the middle. So on the left hand side, there'll be an equal amount, 4 columns. On the right hand side, there'll be equal amount, 4 columns. And in the middle, there is a 4 columns column, you know. So this is the 4 columns column I'm using in between. Simple as that. Of course, user may not have the account in the first place because that's the first time user might use this application. And that's a reason we should go back here and put a message, a standard message. And you know that standard message. Yes, don't have an account. Don't have an account. No problem, register here. So I can say register here inside the link. Register here. Sorry, register here or sign up here, whatever. I think sign up is the better way. Sign up, sign up here. Of course, link to, I think that was a sign up, I believe. Sign up, that's it. This is the way we can go for. So now user can see, hey, don't have an account, no problem. I can click on the sign up here and this will go to the sign up screen. Wonderful. It is very simple. It's very straightforward. There is a very less gap and it doesn't look good. So I'm going to go back to the button and add MT2, M for margin, T for top, 2 for 2 pixels, to rem, not 2 pixels, to rem. So this is how I can put a gap in between. Looks very standard. Now, of course, I don't have any user at this point. So I'm going to go back and register myself. To register myself, naturally, we'll have to create or design the UI for sign up as well. Going back to my sign up, I think I can literally copy and paste the whole stuff from here. It's going to look exactly similar with 2 more parameters in it. So going back to my sign up and then making it exactly look like the sign in. This is the sign up though. We need that email password naturally, but before these 2, we need 2 more, you know, one for the first name, the second one for the last name. Sorry, first name, which is not an email. This is a text. This is this is the last name, which is not an email. This is a text. Wonderful. Rest, email, password, both of them are needed. We need 1 more password because you're registering. So it's going to be like confirm password. So we have confirm password, first name, last name, and email. That's right. No, that's not the case. Already got an account, got an account ready for you, blah, blah, blah. Then simply sign in here, not sign up. It's going to be like sign in here. You may go for slash as well. Both of them would work. And this is not sign in. This is going to be like sign up. That's it. I believe that creates my, sorry. Let's get this auto imported and link is not defined. Why the heck? This is the link router DOM. That's right. Now I think things should work. And this is the sign up form. First name, last name. Oh, that's not right placeholder. Placeholder is not needed for first name and the last name. So I can keep them empty. First name, last name, email, password, confirm password. Already got an account, sign in here. Click on sign in, you will go back to sign in. Hey, you don't have any account yet? No problem. You can sign up here and get yourself signed up. Clear, guys? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, wonderful. Any questions so far? Don't think so. Anyway, it's a pretty straightforward, right? Now, it doesn't make any sense to me, at least, to start with the login. We'll start with the sign up first, because unless user registers, user cannot log in, you know? So let's go and write the code for sign up first. To write the code in sign up, first thing first, we have to go for getting users input and put that in our state object. To create a state object, to add the members into the state object, we know there is a hook. Very important when you are sitting for an interview for React. This is the standard question. What do you mean by React hook? Can someone answer this question? What's a React hook? What's a React hook? Any answer? Anyways, I'll put the answer one more time, but I just want to hear from you. What is a React hook? Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Huh, sir. Yes, it is a function. First of all, what is a React hook? React hook is a function. It's not a class, it's a function. It's a very special function which starts with use. If you have seen that, every single hook must start with use prefix. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, yes, you're right. These functions are called on certain events. For example, the one that I'm going to use right now, it's called as a use state. What is the use state? Use state, it's called, or use state is used for creating a state object and adding that member inside the state object, right? Another good question. Do you want me to put the questions or will you write them on your own? I think open your notebook and write the questions if you are willing to. Okay. This is what I would recommend. Again, choice is yours, depending again how serious you are about your career, how serious you are becoming a React developer, which may give you ton of money in today's environment. Okay. The first question I said, what do you mean by hooks? And give some examples of React hooks. First thing, what's a React hook? You know the answer now. It's a very special function which starts with use. It gets called on different events. Multiple examples. One of them is like use state, the one which I'm going to use right now. Use effect, you must have used it. Use memo, use callback, use navigate, use location. There are so many of them, so many. All of them, I mean, most of them are given by React. Few of them are given by third-party libraries like use navigation and use location. Both of them are given by router, React router DOM. You know, the rest of them I mentioned, use callback, use memo, use state, use effect. All of them are given by React. React added this functionality in 16.0 onwards. Why React has added that? You should know the reason as well. Earlier, there were two ways to create a components, the class component and the functional components. Class components were said or were kind of configured for stateful components, and functional components were designed for stateless components. That's the reason. Earlier, when the React was kind of asking you to create a components based on your requirement, you would create a stateful class component or stateless functional components. But later, many developers demanded that writing functional components are simpler than using class components, and looking at the demand, React has decided to add the state variable or introduce the state variable inside the functional component. And that's the reason they have created a concept called as React hook. React hook is the concept added in React 16.x onwards. So remember that. That's a question number one. I think we have answered. I was saying something and I forgot. Anyways, when I get that or when I recall that question, I'll put that question one more time. But that's the first question. Okay. Now let's create one state member here. Let's say this is for first name, set name, set first name. What the heck? Set first name, which is going to be equals to user state. And let's start with nothing. Let's start with empty string. This is the last name, email, password, and confirm password. Okay, here we are. Set last name, set email, set password, and set confirm password. Okay, all of them will start with empty strings, and now we want to get them, we want to get the values from user into those state members. And you know how do you do that? You go to input and say on change, you say E for event object. Next, it's going to be like set first name, E dot target dot value. That's it. This is the way we can get user's first name into this first name here. Next, the last name. This is going to be like set last name. This is where we'll go for set email, This is where we'll go for set password, hopefully. And this is where, oh, this is where we'll go for set confirm password. I think we are done. Okay, so hopefully we have got all the state members here. Now let's go back, write the code and call the API. To do this, I'm going to go back here and say on sign up. This is again going to be an async function because ultimately we are going to call the API, which itself is asynchronous. So on sign up, we'll check if first name dot length is going to be equals to 0. That means user has not added anything in that first name. I want to show user an error, which could be an alert like this. Enter, I'm sorry, I forgot to say please. I hate. So I can say, hey, enter first name. I don't say please there. So I can say enter first name. Okay, let's see if it works. Going back on sign up, hopefully I want to call this on click of that button, say on click on sign. Let's see if it works. Going back here, where are you? Here it is. If I click on sign up, yes, it shows enter first name. This is so ugly. That's the reason last time we have added React Toastify. Toastify looks wonderful. I think in the last application also we have used it. This is the one. To do this, all I need to do here is go back to our first app component, include these two things, going back to app component, here it is, adding these two lines and add a toast container here. That's it. This is one-time setup. It's configured inside my app component. And then rest of the components, we just have to use that function called as toast dot error warning, whatever it is. I'm going to say error. I think warning is a better option. And then if I go for clicking on that button now, it will show me a good message saying, hey, enter the first name. So it looks way better than our default alert. We already have used it. There's nothing new to you, I know. But this is where we are going to use the standard libraries here, That's the last name, I believe. Enter last name. Email. Else if, what is the next one? Password. Else if, confirm password, please confirm password. Last else if the password is not equals to confirm password. Then we can say password does not match. Standard message in the standard practice to check at the time of signing up, password does not match. And the password does not match, you want user to enter the password again. That's it. If everything goes well, then I want to call an API, right? How do you call an API? To call an API, we first need to write the code. And that's the reason last time we have created a directory named services. That's it. It's waiting for me to create a new module named, this is user, right? So new model named user.js. This should not be a JSX. This is JS because it's a pure code, not having any HTML stuff here. First thing first, import Axios. That's the first thing. Second, I think, what else do I need? I will see that. Let's go for creating a function named register, or you can say sign up user, where we can pass the parameters like the first name, last name, email, and lastly it is password. You know how do you send a post request to a server or call the post API using Axios, I believe. So again, try catch, don't forget that. Try catch EX, again, I'm going to say return. And I think it's better for me to create a new function, new module called as utils.js. And right here, I can say export function, create error. I'm going to say return status as an error. That's it. And this is an error. I know I already have written this earlier on the backend side, but I'm going to need it here as well. That's the first thing. Second thing, I'm going to write one more. It's going to be like export function, create URL. This is the path. This is important for me because I don't want to change the IP address every now and then. I know it's going to be like used only once here. So I don't have to keep on repeating the same IP address all the places. Let's say this is like a server URL. For me right now is http://localhost:4000. Okay. I can say return. This is where we can put the server URL / path. It's very simple, very straightforward. Okay, so let's go back here and import both of them. So import create URL, and what was that? Create error, I believe, from utils. So here I'm going to say create URL, create error. So I can say return create error ex, and here we'll create this URL by saying by saying URL, that's const URL, which is going to be equals to create URL, where I want to create a URL for say user / sign up. So this will automatically create the URL http://localhost 4000 /user /sign up. If you look at the create URL, it's just going to get the server URL, which is the default URL here, and just append the path which I'm passing there, So I don't have to keep on using the localhost 4000 each and every time. I don't have to repeat the same IP address everywhere. The benefit of this strategy here is once we are done with this application, we want to move this application to cloud. And if you want to move this to the cloud, I want to change this IP address only once here, right? So that's the reason why we are going to put this variable here. And then we can go for kind of, you can say, replacing that localhost with real IP address, the cloud IP address towards the end of it. Wonderful. So we have the create URL now. All I need to do now is like get the result, which is going to be equals to, or get the response better by using this await. Again, if you are going for await, it has to be an async function. Await axios dot post the URL, the one which we have just created. I need a body somewhere here. By creating a body, this would look like this, first name, last name, email, and password. I need all of them here. That's it. So this will call my API. And once it is successfully getting the response, I'm going to call return response.data. This is where we are going to return the responses data here. Wonderful. Going back in our sign up screen, here we will call the API, make the API call. So how do you make an API call? All we need to do here is const result, which is going to be equals to await till you get the response. So await, what was the name? Sign up user, I believe, which is going to have first name, last name, email, and the password. That's it. So now we are having the result. We can check if the result is having a status success. That means user got successfully created, So maybe we can say toast dot success and say successfully registered the user. That's it. Else we can put a toast error, whatever is there in that error in my result. That's it. This is how we can call an API, get the result, and show a message to the user. Not only that, once the user gets successfully registered, I want to go from this to the previous screen. When I say previous screen, it is nothing but the sign-in screen I'm going to go to. So probably I'm going to go back here and use create the navigate, or maybe I can say get the navigate object or navigate function object or function. That's also is fine. Const navigate, which is going to be equals to use and navigate. Use navigate is given by router DOM. This navigate function will help me to go from sign up to sign in by saying navigate / means it's like /in. Probably we already have said / is the default route for our sign in account. You may say sign in as well. Both of them would work, but it's all right. Doesn't matter. Are we all clear on that? Let's see if it works. To check if it works, I'm going to go back and say, first thing first, let's clear up our database. truncate order details, truncate order master, and truncate user, you know. So now there is no user, there is no order in my data. I'm going to create my first user. Amit, let's say Kulkarni. Amit@test.com. Password is test. Confirm password is test1234. Giving it, just to see if it is working fine or not. So if I click on sign up, it should tell me, hey, your password does not match, which is absolutely because I made it. Made this scenario. So now it is hopefully okay. I'm going to say sign up. Are you ready, guys? So 3, 2, 1, click on that and boom, it says, hey, successfully registered the user. Oh, really? I don't know. Let's check this. So going back to my database, and say select star from user. We truncated that user table last time. So hopefully this time I got my user successfully created. And it's not like I'm fooling you because look at the time. The time is 9:55. That means this is just created now. Okay, I'm not fooling you because the username is same. Anyways, so now it is kind of working. The registration is done. Sign up is done. The next logical step is to finish the signing. And once the sign-in is done, we are going to go to the home component. Are you all getting the point, guys? Oh, let's see. Sign-in is a little bit different, not difficult, different. I mean, the calling API is the same, but once the API is called, the result that you are going to get, you have to cache token somewhere. That is a little bit different part. We'll see that in a minute. To do this, I'm going to go back to my sign in here. And why not? I'm going to copy and paste, reuse some of the codes. This is email and password. I'm going to copy and paste. Don't forget to import use state. And then where are you? Here it is. Copy email somewhere here and pasting it there. Copying it from password. This is the one. And pasting it somewhere here. I hope that will solve my problem. Hopefully. Rest, I think copy and paste. Oh, don't say copy paste. Say reuse. That's it. We don't have first name, last name, so I don't have to worry about that. It starts with email and password. There is no confirm password. The rest of the things will remain similar. There is no sign up user. It is not a sign up rather. This is like on sign in. So I'm going to go back to my button and say on click sign in. This is not going to work. I know. I'm going to get an error saying, hey, this is not yet, this is not yet imported and blah, blah, blah. Don't worry. We'll fix that in a minute, one by one. First thing, I'm getting an error for toast. Let's fix it up like this. Second, it's not the sign up user. It's a sign in user I want to make a call to. But where is the sign in user? It's not yet written. We have to write it now. See how simple is that? Copying this and pasting it and changing this to sign in user. We don't need these two parameters. Just get email and password. Change that sign in, sign up to sign in. We don't need this. You are done. See, it took hardly a minute for me to copy and paste, to reuse the existing code and make the second API call. That's it. It is way simple. Next time onwards, it just copy, paste, reuse. It's only first time it's going to take some more time rather, because you are setting the things up. But once the things are set up, probably next time onwards, you just have to copy, paste, reuse. That's it. Going back here and say, hey, this is the sign-in user I want to make a call to. First name, last name, both of them are not needed. Things are really okay. Now, here I'm going to go back to /home. But when we get the success. Successfully logged in user, or maybe I can say, hey, welcome to the application. Welcome to the pizza shop. Pizza shop, blah, 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 Anyways, so now we are going to cache the token, because unless the token is cached, we won't be able to use that token in other APIs. So cache the token. Cache the token. Here it is. How do you do that? To do this, first you need to get the data out of your, or maybe token out of your data. Maybe I can say the token, which is going to be equals to result of data. If you have seen the API response last time, where is it? Sign in API response. You can see that there is a key called as a data, and within this data, there is a token. So all we need to do now here is we can say, not here, we can say result of data, which means this object I'm referring to. And within this, there is a token, which means it's like result of data of token. Sorry, token, that's it. This is the token I'm looking for. How do you cache it? To cache it, you have two options. Either you can go for session storage or you can go for local storage. And probably you might be knowing the difference. Another interview question. What do you mean by web storage? In JavaScript, there is something called as a web storage. Actually, it's not a JavaScript, to be honest. It's like this is one of the browser's component, right? One more question. Explain browser architecture. Very rarely you will see this question because most of the times the interviewer do not know what browser's architecture is, so they do not bother to ask that question. But if there is a person who is kind of working in the web since long, probably he might ask the question, explain browser architecture. There are 5 different components of a browser. Probably starting number 1, network component. Number 2, rendering component. It's also called as a rendering engine or layout engine. The third one is something called as JavaScript engine, the heart of the browser, the core of the browser. The fourth component is called as a UI component. And the last component is what I just asked the question about, web storage. Let me answer this question one more time. There are 5 components in browser's architecture. There are 5 components in every browser, no matter which one you are using, no matter on which platform you are using. Even if you are using Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or maybe Opera, and if you don't find anything, there's one of the worst browsers available in Internet Explorer, or you can say Edge. All of them are having all the 5 components there. Component number 1 is called as network component, which does the communication with server, okay? Second component is called as a rendering engine, which converts or which translates HTML and CSS into JavaScript. Second component is called as rendering engine. Rendering engine is also known as layout engine. The third component, which is the most component, and this is the component on which your whole Node.js is based. If there is no third component, Node.js wouldn't have existed. The third component is JavaScript engine. The main job of JavaScript engine is to execute the JavaScript code and produce the output. Probably you might be knowing it. The Node.js is based on Google Chrome's JavaScript engine known as V8. So V8 is the one which is kind of executing your JavaScript code when it is passed to Node.js. So this is the JavaScript engine, third component, most important component, the core of architecture of any browser. The fourth component is called the user interface. Once the browser executes the code, it has to be rendered somewhere. The one which you see here in front of you, it's called as a user interface. This is a user interface component which is controlling the whole user interface of a browser. And lastly, it's called as web storage. The question which I was asking right now. What do you mean by web storage? A web storage is a component in a browser which stores the data either temporarily or permanently. Web storage contains 2 ways. One is called the session storage and the other one is called as local storage. Session storage stores the data per session, means you close the browser, you close the session, your session data will be removed, it will be cleared. And the other one is like local storage. Until you explicitly remove the items, the local storage would not remove anything on its own. That's a benefit of it. If you want to implement a scenario like once user logs in, you never want user to log in explicitly, you can use this local storage. But if you want to implement a functionality like you want user to log in, but accidentally or purposefully, if user closes the browser and comes back to your website, if you want user to log in, go for session storage. This is your programmer's choice. I mean, it's not like programmers, it's like the requirements choice, but you should know when to use session storage and when to use local storage. I hope you know this part. So I'm going to go back here and use a session storage so that if I close my browser, if I come back on this website, I'll have to log in one more time. So this is like a session storage, and I can go back and say this is like a token where I'm going to put the token in. Okay, so that's a token. Wonderful. Next, this token, the one which I'm using right now, will be passed to every single API henceforth, except sign in and sign up, because we already have added exceptions last time. Okay, so this is the way we are going to cache the token so that we can use it in the future in all the other APIs. I think we are done with that as well now. Let's give it a shot. Oh, I'm getting an error for navigate because I did not use the, where is the sign in component? Oh, there is no navigate. Sorry, my bad. I forgot to copy paste that. Not a big deal. I'm gonna write it now. Navigate is gonna be equals to use navigate. That's the function given by React Router DOM. Hopefully things are right. Let me go back here. I can say amit@test.com. Password is test, but I'm going to enter the wrong password here just to see if it is working. If I look at that, it says, hey, user does not exist. Okay. If you think like this is not a good message, go back to your backend, go back to your users and change this message saying, hey, your username password is wrong. Please enter something better. So you can say invalid username or password, a standard message. Excuse me. If I go back and say sign in, yes, I started getting the new message now. Okay. But this time I'm entering the right password. So right username, right password. If I say sign in, boom, I got welcome to application. At the same time, I got the home component of my application. Are you all getting it, guys? The good part here is if I go back to my application, and if I look at the session storage, I can see that the token is now cached. And because the token is cached, I'm going to use that token for the rest of my APIs. And without that, I can't make the API calls. We know that. Anyways, I think now we are done with this. Probably we'll have to work on the home component where we want to see a grid, or maybe you can say a standard, user interface where we want to show the list of pizzas. Then we have to add a pizza into a cart, and then we have to send an order, check out the items from the cart. Okay. But I think before that, it's better we can take a break. Okay. Hold on.